Have you ever seen a vintage fishing reel? I did a video once on how to restore one. Today I'm gonna try out this other reel I restored. Here you can see me wrapping the silly string up on the reel. And boom, I'm at the river. I've been waiting so long to try out this reel. Heads up, this reel did not work well. This is the reel I usually use. Time to pick a fluff. For this vintage reel straight out of a time capsule, I'm gonna choose this bad boy. Psych, that's a dandelion. Found this fluff though, crimped the barb, and then I got to flicking my fish stick. Look at the absolute horrendousness of this stance. Hello! This stance is brought to you by Rocks. Shout out to Rocks. I was having a lot of trouble with the drag system on this reel. I saw these birds that were catching a ride on the current, bruh. They had no problem with drag. They were flying by. I really did try to get the most out of this reel, and it's sentimental, so I wanted it to work out, but I don't think that this is going to be a usable reel. There's some parts in there that are spring metal, and they're riveted to the main frame of the reel, and it's just a lot of work to get spring metal back to the springiness that it used to be. That said, it was still worth trying it out, even though for now it will be used as a paperweight. Have you ever heard of urban fishing? I had a kid yell at me today and said, "It's illegal to urban fish." So I Googled it and I was like, no, it's not. I made sure I had permission to fish here, but when that little dude yelled out, I actually just walked away like I wasn't allowed to. He was probably confident as heck thinking he just kicked me out of this spot. And lil bro, if you're watching, I know I didn't say anything to you, but good on you for looking out for the river. That takes confidence. Back to our regular scheduled programming. Larry the Lobster is not having a good day. Meanwhile, I'm over here pulling a Bear Grylls in the bushes. If Bear Grylls made seasoning, he should call it pepper spray. Love you, Bear. I accidentally pepper sprayed myself by falling one time. It really hurt. There was a bass swimming under this bridge, but every time it saw my lure, it was like, well, I'm gonna evade capture. Good thing I brought my ring around the Rosie spinning rod. A pocket full of posies would have helped me out here because there was about to be a stench of fish in the air, my guys. Started wrangling this thing like Fishing Garrett and his 20-foot python. Gave this dude a free ride on the Fish SpaceX Falcon. Probably the hardest spot I've ever tried to fetch a fish. I know it's unorthodox, but it works, and it was a beautiful fish. This is probably the prettiest fish I have ever seen in person. This is some next level stuff. This big company came into town. They set up an obstacle course for us to flick our fish sticks at. I was casting my spider web all the way across this little yard. This video is made possible by fish. Without fish, there would be no fishing. Huge shout out to all the fish out there. Thank you for letting me catch you and release you. Respectfully. To the people at Trout Unlimited, I don't know if I was supposed to be at your event, but hey, I made it. I'm here and I'm so grateful. That's for everyone at Trout Unlimited and everyone anywhere else. There's usually stigma with big companies or organizations, but here there should be none. These guys do great stuff. It's basically a bunch of tiny organizations working together to make a big one. I got opinions. I know you got them. Trout Unlimited definitely listens to them. And all the organizations that work with them, they're doing greatness. I think Eddie Murphy had that line where it was like 70 years. 70 years on average is all you get. Well, Eddie, by the end of my 70 years, I would really like to see some salmon flowing up the river where I'm at. Let's bring these fishies home. The river deserves it. If there was salmon, I probably wouldn't even fish for them though. Y'all want to go urban fishing? Let's do it. Woohoo! Here we go. Go Cougs. Walked up into this little nook. These thorn bushes were thick. Flicked my fish stick out. Heads up, I'm about to latch into a river monster. Here we go. Ready? Boom, baby. Look at this. I don't know what it is. I didn't catch it, but look at that splashing. Sheesh, diddly deesh. Here's some stories from the river. One time I yelled out, $20 to whoever gets my lure unstuck. This guy and gal that were swimming unstucked my lure. Luckily, when I told them I didn't actually have $20 on me, they said, oh, don't worry, we thought you were just joking. We weren't expecting $20. So that was actually a really good day. Another time I was at this one place called and this lady broke into people's tents and drank way too much water, let's say. Yeah, she was just taking everybody's water. Any water she could get her hands on. Then she went around in a rage, absolutely Hulk smashing people's windows with boulders. I remember hearing about her later and people said she was super nice, just going through some really bad stuff at the time. This story is from a different river and I caught a fish. It was a bass. I was gonna eat it. I put it behind the seat of the kayak I was borrowing and then I forgot about the fish. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from my friend and they said, did you leave a fish in the kayak? My response was yes. It was a smallmouth bass that I named Jimothy. I was gonna eat him, but I forgot about him. My bad. Check out part 2 for wilder stories. River Stories Part 2. There was this one time when I kayaked about 2 miles downriver. This was a huge river, by the way, and I couldn't really kayak back comfortably. My arms were just like little spaghetti noodles. I ended up getting a tow from someone that owned a boat. It was kind of cool. Shout out to boats. One of the scarier stories is when I was fishing out of state underneath a bridge, and then someone just started throwing glass bottles at me. That one was kind of scary because if you look at how glass bottles are manufactured, they're actually made pretty well and they're really strong. They don't break like they do in movies. When I was 10 years old, I found some pepper spray. I wanted to know what it was like to spray it, so I sprayed it, but I sprayed it into the wind, and yeah, the wind was blowing in my face. One of the most memorable outings at the river was when I was like 6 years old. I was at this swimming area on one of those big inflatable mattresses. It was yellow and it had little palm trees on it. Anyways, me being 6 years old with the confidence of an 80-year-old, I paddled my little mattress out to where all the cool kids were. Yeah, so they were in the middle of the river where the current is strongest, and I basically was like, I don't think this is a good idea, you guys. I gotta go back. And they told me that there were piranhas in the water. I said, can you guys paddle me back? They said no. So I tried it, and I was so scared that I just let myself drift downstream. Luckily, there was a lifeguard on duty that stopped me from going over the dam. Yeah, all of us were swimming like 100 yards away from a dam. Definitely don't recommend. Shout out to Essentia Water. You guys were there at St. Martin's University for a Christmas run one time, and I got to try your water, and it was good. Story time. I used to go to basketball camps when I was like 7 to 12 or something like that, and I would freeze my water because I wanted it to be super cold. Anyways, I got super dehydrated because it wouldn't de-thaw in time for me to get enough water in my body, and I puked everywhere and I got sent home. Whichever coach sent me home from that camp, thank you. Seriously, I probably needed that. I look up to you. Still, I was ready to put all my effort in for the team. Okay, are these holes for birds or for bats? That's the question of the day today. Whichever one it is, there's a whole team of them. Basketball team, baseball team, fishing team, bird team, any team, no matter what team it is, it's all about playing a tiny, tiny, tiny little part in a team. There's a company called Sims. They just did a posting on how 18 people came together in 2015 to make a team to clean up a river in the local area. This team formation was called Clean the Dream. They've removed 1.25 tons of trash from different fisheries all around South Park, Colorado. Chances are there's an organization near you where you can help to clean your local river. And if there's not, search Clean the Dream on Google. If you look into that, use that as inspiration. We're here for such a short amount of time, and this ecosystem is definitely going to outlive us all. Gosh, it was beautiful out today. I try to invite people to the river who haven't fished in a while, and maybe who haven't ever fished before. Meet Tom. He hasn't casted a fish stick out in a long time. Tom's name is not actually Tom, but to keep him confidential, we're gonna go with Tom. I don't like walking in the river, nor do I recommend it, but I'm a pro. I'm kidding, I'm very far from it. I just knew that we both had pretty good balance and we'd be okay, so we crossed the river pretty quick. I didn't bring sunscreen today. Tom, I know you had some. I just didn't want to take you up on it because I know that stuff's expensive. This is a fishing shirt that blocks the sun. It's the first shirt I've bought in like 4 years. Definitely a good investment. If you're watching these videos, don't use me as an example for what to do when fly fishing or anything like that. I'm still learning. I might know how to cast a rod. That said, I've learned more in the past couple months than I have from any YouTube video in the past couple years. But shout out to YouTube. Without you, I wouldn't know how to cook. Highly recommend getting some felt bottom shoes if you can. I got these shoes about 5 years ago, but they're still working, still shoeing, so I'm out here fishing. Tom was out here rocking Vans. Super impressed at how those handled on the rocks. To get to this fishing spot, we had to go into 4-wheel drive, and we were just sending it. Shout out to Essentia Water. Y'all want to go urban fishing? Let's do it. Woo-hoo-hoo, here we go. Go Cougs. Walked up into this little nook. These thorn bushes were thick. Flicked my fish stick out. Heads up, I'm about to latch into a river monster. Here we go. Ready? Boom, baby. Look at this. I don't know what it is. I didn't catch it, but look at that splashing. Sheesh, diddly deesh. This fish must have been a 2-foot-long piranha because it bit my lure straight off. But you know I brought snacks for the other fish. Absolutely hook set this tree branch into oblivion. Heave! Oh, it's a tree branch, guys. Don't you just love nature and the nature of fishing? What a beaut. Ayo, bob her down. I caught something. I was beyond confused at what this was. It was not moving. That's because it's a sock. Bro, I just caught a sock. Thank you, River, for offering me a sock today. No, thank you. I withdrew from the nook and I went to a new nook. Fishing bloopers and the team has arrived. Respectfully, I'm gonna fish this and probably come back someday with a local organization that, well, they do amazing work on keeping this river in great shape. It's called Spokane River Keeper. Anyways, moving on. Threw a little upper decky fish candy flying through the air right into the fish's area. Highly don't recommend upper deckies, boys and girls. I just got caught on a log. Real quick, check this out. This was my dad's. Let me know if you'd like a video on how to fix these up. I can also show you how to hand fabricate the key tools to take this thing apart. This thing has served me well over the years and I'm so grateful for it. And it's not about me. Remove me from the situation. This thing's a hand-me-down, dude. You know how many friends have needed to use this and I'm like, oh, somehow I ended up with one of those. Here you go. As the weather inevitably gets colder through the winter time, I'll continue these videos, but it's gonna be tough. Have you seen a handmade fishing rod? Someone that came into town recently gave me this. It was very kind, and I really appreciate it. It says made for Jacob Kratt. Somebody wrote that by hand and made this rod for them. I did some digging based on where this was bought, and it looks like there was a Jacob Kratt in the area. If it is the Jacob Kratt I found online, he's supposed to have had 3 kids, and if they're watching or if you know about them, send this to them. It'd be pretty cool to return this awesome item. Hey, oh, Pops, you're on the wall. Somewhere I have a photo of my dad standing next to this. He was hyped when he saw this. I'll never forget the day he told me about this. He took me to breakfast and then he was like, I have something to show you on the way back. And then he parked in this same parking lot, got out, stood in front of this thing and was like, it's me.